All right, so first and foremost, let's talk about Thanksgiving, and let's talk about what we don't want to do, which is going to the emergency room during the holidays. Sometimes the pets, of course, it's never well timed when they start not acting right or not feeling good. When do we have to go to the emergency room?
Anytime, I say anytime you feel you're concerned, anytime you feel like you have to call an emergency clinic, it's worth getting your pet checked out. Anytime, it can be something as simple as my dog's just not acting right, because that can actually indicate something going on internally that is pretty significant, but outwardly it's a subtle sign. Anytime there's vomiting and diarrhea, trouble breathing, really lethargic, pale gums, if they seem painful or having trouble walking, if they are having trouble peeing or peeing a lot more frequently than they normally would. Those are some indicators of when you need to have them checked out. And of course, the obvious things like major trauma, ingestion of foreign material, you know that happened, ingestion of toxins, so many things. I could go on for days.
Right, and I see the top emergencies are the vomiting and diarrhea and also the toxicity consumption. All right, so let's talk about that. Let's talk about what they could possibly eat and get into that they shouldn't. So a lot of times people feed their pets table scraps, and that can definitely lead to an overweight pet.
Absolutely. Yeah. Vomiting diarrhea takes up about 25% of the cases that we see over the holidays, as well as ingestion of toxins like medications, moldy food. So things you don't want them to get into are chicken bones, any kind of meat bones that you, like we talked about, grapes, raisins, sugar-free foods that contain xylitol, which can cause low blood sugar and liver issues. Onions and garlic. So if you got a lot of gravy that's really high in fat and lots of onions and garlic in there, you don't want them to eat that. Moldy food, like I mentioned, is a big one. So if you have that trash can out, or you're after the holidays, you're emptying out your food from the fridge and it's gotten all moldy, you put it into the trash, and then the dogs are like, "Ooh, that's pretty good," and then they eat it. It can end up causing not just intestinal symptoms like vomiting and diarrhea, but symptoms from moldy food toxicity. So those are some of the big ones we see.
Yeah, for sure. Raw bread dough is on there, chocolate's on there, so that way we know for sure. All right, we've heard of dog years, right, how old they are, but what about dog food equivalencies? Because it's not like an apple to apple kind of thing.
Right. So that's a great question, because when we think about proportions, it's hard for me to kind of understand even proportions for us. You know, humans, we're supposed to have a portion of meat the size of our palm. I'm like having portions of meat like this big, you know? And so for dogs, it's completely different than what we would expect. Like if a 20-pound dog ate one hot dog, it would be the equivalent to us eating 3 hamburgers or 2 chocolate bars. So a 1 ounce block of cheddar cheese for a 20-pound dog is like us eating 2.5 hamburgers or 5 chocolate bars. And this is referenced from the Hills Science Diet data. But that proportion is crazy. When you think about a 1 ounce block of cheese, it'd be us eating 5 chocolate bars. So we can see how that would really put on the pounds for our pets and even increase the risk of gastroenteritis or pancreatitis.
Yeah, they would not feel good. I mean, nobody eats 3 hamburgers in one sitting. Okay. Are there healthy table food options?
So many healthy options. When you think about it, you want to think about lean meats, low fat, fruits and veggies. That's a good way to kind of keep it when you're thinking, what can I give my pet? So lean proteins, you know, chicken or turkey breast, lean ham, lean ground beef. You can do apples, bananas, air popped popcorn, cauliflower, sweet potatoes, potatoes without the butter or the gravy and the milk and all those things mixed in, cucumbers, eggs, green beans, green peppers, melon, canned pumpkin, rice cakes, canned tuna and water. Oh, cats love that. They love that so much. Zucchini, squash. There are so many options that are really healthy. And healthy things that, you know, for us as well. But those are things that some pets just really love. You can find something healthy within that list for sure.
All right, so already someone's asking, how many table scraps can I feed my dog if it's a 70-pound dog?
Well, that's actually an excellent question, and there is a way to quantify it. As long as it does not take up more than 10% of your dog's total diet, that is a good measure. So over 10% of your dog's total diet, you want to keep those table scraps below that.
Okay, so keep the table scraps below. Say that one more time.
Yeah. So if you want to keep it below 10% of the total diet. So
Okay.
90% dog food, 10% table scraps that are lean, low fat, and healthy.
Yeah, not in addition to the dog food that you're already going to give them and on top of that. Okay. All right, let's talk about bones and giving dogs bones, especially like around turkey time, you know, they've got that kind of stuff going on. So can we give our dogs a bone?
I don't recommend it, unfortunately. You know, it's one of those things that a lot of people do. And I used to do it before I was a vet. And then I realized how bad it is, right? Because I see so many problems with it. Even those knuckle bones that are smoked and, excuse me, that are smoked and really delicious smelling, they can actually break teeth, cause esophageal or intestinal foreign body obstructions, lacerations in the mouth or in the GI tract. I've seen so many problems with the bones. I just don't recommend it. It's not worth it. There are so many other healthy, good treats out there for pets that do not pose those same risks.